Hello, John.
Hello, Oliver.
We've covered abortion many times, and today we're going to talk about abortion on an international scale. We're going to talk about China, 60 million girls aborted by law, and we're going to talk about a building in Washington that's basically an abortion factory. So if you want to go ahead there.
Yes, abortion worldwide. When you hear the figures for abortion worldwide per year, it's frightening. 100 million plus perfectly healthy babies, imagine the image and likeness of God, killed every year. In communist countries like China, this is done on purpose, where girls particularly suffered abortion because of the one-child policy. Hence, a lot of Chinese men have no ladies or girls that they can marry because there have been so many aborted. Now China lately has changed to a two-child policy. So this is the effect of a communist regime on the freedom of the individual. Funny enough, it's been replicated in Ireland with the policies of this dreadful government that we have, but that's an aside. So 100 million.
60 million, is it?
100 million aborted every year. China aborts, you can't take their figures as accurate. Suffice to say it's millions. It's at least per annum, with the population that they have, it's probably about 50 million per year. They probably account for the most. Because Russia, when there was abortion available in Russia under the communist system, it has been restricted now that the Orthodox Christian religion has been rehabilitated since the fall of communism, and so abortions now become much more restricted, as they are in Poland. No abortion is allowed, and in Hungary and various other countries. Some of them have rescinded it. So the fact that the mother aborts a perfectly healthy child who feels pain from the time that they are conceived. They're made in the image of God. Their soul goes into their soul is established by the Almighty in the child. Now, when that child then is aborted, it already has a soul. It's crying out to heaven for vengeance because it feels pain. Think of the unfortunate Holocaust with the Jewish people, 6 million of them butchered by the Germans in the Second World War in concentration camps, including many priests, Catholics and all the rest of it as well, especially from Poland. Now, this is the danger of what you call a totalitarian regime. Is this what we have in this country now? Just as bad as any of these other totalitarian countries, which, by the way, they were called by one of the magazines in this country, a Live magazine, which referred to this government that we have, and Fianna Fáil, as the most totalitarian in the history of the country. They're even worse now because they've done more evil even since the same-sex marriage referendum, abortion, and then done away with the blasphemy laws as well. So no protection for Catholic priests and the Catholic religion, as evidenced by what we were talking about earlier, the closure of the renaming of the Our Lady of Lourdes Hospital in Drogheda, and God knows everywhere else as well. So abortion in all its forms is so evil, it cries out to heaven for vengeance. I just mentioned an article that appeared in this dated the 4th of January, the Catholic Voice magazine, and it's written by by a Father John.
If you just want to show it there in front of us, just hold it up there. Yeah.
Father John Harden,
Okay.
S.J. Jesuit. He's died, but he said this: abortion is the ultimate crime. Other crimes can be perpetuated for some profit or gain, but there is no gain in abortion, except a lifetime of pathetic quiet. Other crimes can be provided by some deadly passion, like lust or anger or revenge, but there is no real passion in abortion, except an idolatrous self-love or inhuman self-will. There the matter stood until Christ came into the world. With his coming, his invitation to, inverted commas, let the children come to me, inverted commas, took on a cosmic significance that world historians are only now beginning to recognise. And here's what he says: a person's index of morality can be gauged on where he or she stands on the practice of abortion. For those who really believe in Christ and are not Catholic in reality, and not only in name, abortion is a detestable crime. Now there's more in that article. There's more in that article. Very critical of any country that would permit abortion, especially a country that people in a referendum voted for. There's only one solution for those that voted for that, because the killing of the innocents will be on their conscience because they voted for it. No point in crying over spilt milk and having regrets. There's only one solution for them. They are guilty of complicity in the killing and the abortion of potential Irish people. It's a terrible crime to have on your conscience. Confession, if you're a Catholic, will go some way to relieve your sin, but it's something that's going to stick with you for the rest of your life, whether you're male or female, especially if you're female, to acquiesce in that. As a matter of fact, any doctor, nurse or anyone that acquiesces in that is complicit in the abortion or the killing of the innocent. The Nazis did it, the communists did it, every totalitarian, anti-Catholic, anti-Christian organisation in the world did it. So it behoves people that don't support it to make their views known, and the pro-life cause will continue to do that no matter what anyone says, because it's immoral and nobody has the right to obey an immoral law.
The pro-life group are very active in the US, luckily enough.
They are. They come from nowhere. Years ago, 25% only 25% of people were actually pro-life, or their views were heard, and particularly the legislator, because abortion was brought in there through legislation, or rather through the courts, the Supreme Court. It wasn't voted on by the people, because if there was a vote there, they would vote no, thank you very much, because America is mostly Christian. So it was brought in by the legal route. Now, there's an effort now, over 50% in the US are now pro-life, including many politicians, including President Trump. Although the media concentrates on this security barrier that he wants to build to prevent criminals coming in from South America, which apparently a lot have done. So that's what's occupying the media, not his other stance on issues like coming to the aid of Christians that are persecuted in the Middle East and in other countries like Pakistan. Wherever Muslims are in charge, Catholics and Christians are at risk. Even in Egypt, they're being murdered by Muslim extremists. So we're fortunate that the US is doing that, and it seems to me in not too long hence, abortion will be banned in the US, except under circumstances where the mother's life is at risk. So that will make a cosmic change in the link of this country, and let's hope we have another referendum, as they had plenty of them before when they didn't get their way. Let's have another referendum on these divisive issues that they've introduced, undermining marriage between a man and a woman, and then denying the right for children to be born, and yapping about women's choice and all this, which has nothing got to do with it. There's no choice about. It should be a crime for anyone to have an abortion, or even to want to kill a perfectly healthy child, or any child.
It sounds like the tide is turning.
Well, I think it is turning, and the people in France woke up there and went, and there are millions on the streets, and they lead very quiet lives in that country. But when you just go too much on them, out they come. Now, we've suffered in this country from persecution down the centuries and all the rest of it, and put our lives at risk. Priests put their lives at risk, and here we are now putting children's lives at risk. What about the poor children that's born when they look at the crib, for example, that just happened at Christmas, a child Jesus born? How many is going to be not born that they can look at? It's putting an awful curse on the country to indulge in such stuff, and the pro-life cause will object to it. The Christian and Jobs Action Party and John Malone will object to it as long as I am on this earth. And the link of this government and any other government that sees fit to impose these things will be resisted.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you very much, Oliver.